I really appreciate you joining me today, and this is some news coming from Scotland. A police officer who had recently retired, and he was actually trying to speak out about corruption inside the police force. His name was Robert Brown, and this story was actually dated 2019, and the conclusion that I've been able to find was this year in July. The original article described him as a whistleblower, and he had also received a gagging order to say that he wasn't allowed to speak about any of the claims that he had about the police. So that on its own is very interesting, that for somebody that just wants to come out and speak out about corruption has already been gagged by the police themselves. He said he had a dossier that ran into dozens of pages, and the Lord Justice James Wolfe QC from Police Scotland legal team argued the documents should be banned from ever being shown. This was the Glasgow tribunal, and the judge was Muriel Robinson, and she had sided with Wolfe's public interest request. The hearing was planned to go ahead in 2020, but of course with coronavirus there was some delays, and I found it really difficult to find a follow-up to this. I did find an article from later on the same year that said that the Police Scotland chief ignored proof of corruption, the police officer claimed. In this article, reported by the Daily Record, they stated that PC Robert Brown, the whistleblower, was actually a police officer for 30 years and he'd left on good terms. And he was accusing his superiors of ignoring claims that there was a lot of corruption among the ranks. The main allegation was that the unit that investigated internal complaints about police officers themselves had a lot of controversy. PC Brown has had a long-running battle with the Employment Tribunal, and he tried to use the legal opportunity to name and shame colleagues that he claims were corrupt, but a legal challenge by the force prevented this from happening. PC Robert Brown then went to social media to try to raise awareness about the story and tweeted that he'd emailed documented proof to the office of the counter-corruption unit, but he said that they themselves were notoriously corrupt, and the chief, Livingstone, was once in charge of that department. He then raises the question that the police should not be investigated by a department in which the crime was committed, and anyone attached to the police force would make it a biased investigation. This was the first time they reported that Brown had spoken out outside of the tribunal that was ongoing in the other article that we read. The claims centre on the police officers that worked at Strathclyde Police Station in Police Scotland and were generated from 2013. Brown spent 2 years battling the legal process as a whistleblower to make these claims, and in the hearing he said that drug evidence was planted, officers forged witness statements, and money seizures were misused under the proceeds of crime. He also made allegations about the use of police informants, and some officers hid the fact that they'd been committing crime. Earlier this year, it was revealed that Police Scotland had spent £500,000 on legal fees fighting against their own officers and an employment tribunal despite having their own solicitors. The bill alone for fighting PC Brown actually cost them £63,000. And due to the fact that I found it so difficult to find any other press coverage on this case after 2019, I actually found the tribunal results myself, and nowhere else in the media are these published. And what they said was the judge determined that PC Robert Brown had started the tribunal late and missed a certain piece of paperwork, which meant that they couldn't even listen to the tribunal. So that was automatically dismissed in June of 2021. So I thought this was really interesting that a police officer who literally just wanted to explain that other officers were corrupt and had served for 30 years without any discrimination himself was actually silenced by his own force. And later down the line now, he's actually been eradicated from any media coverage. But if there is any information anyone's got on corruption to do with Scottish councils or the government, please don't forget you can contact me, news@scarcitystudios.com, and I'll be back again with some more news very shortly. Please don't forget to follow me online as well at Scarcity Studios on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and TikTok, and wishing all the subscribers a happy new year.